those things that we've done, we just refer to them whenever we are also trying to look at setting analysis and all that. So welcome back today. Today is the 18th of the Excel 30 days challenge. And it's so good to be here with us. I think we are moving. Yeah, so things that we're going to look at today. Number one, let's call these the 18th, right? Sorry, the 18th. So things to look at, things to do, to look at. Number one, we have working with GoSeek. That's the first one. Working with GoSeek. Working with GoSeek, right? So that's the first one we're going to look at. Then secondly, we're also going to look at using scenarios in formulas. So number two, we are going to look at using scenarios in formulas, using scenarios. Sorry, scenarios in formulas. So using scenarios in formulas. Number three, we are looking at using data tables in formulas. And lastly, we are also going to look at exploring the analysis tool. So there's an add-on on Excel that enables you to do more than what is made available to you. So we are going to go and toggle it on today so that majority of you that doesn't know that we have those functions, we begin to see that there are more to do on Excel than just what you can see on the peripheral. So there's also what we call VBA. There's what we call macros, right? We have macros, we have VBA, we have so we are going to first toggle the first thing on Excel, and that thing we're going to toggle on will enable us to do a lot of data analysis. Okay, so now these are the things to look at. So let's start from the first one. So what we're going to do right now is, let me be sure that our mic, so this is being recorded fine. So the first thing we're going to do now is we're going to start by working on the GoSeek. We started this yesterday. So let me see where I put that data. There's a place I put the data, except if I didn't save it. I'm not so sure if I saved it. Okay, if I can't see it here, that means, okay, conditional statement, then working with GoSeek. I can see that data here. Okay, precedence. I can't see the data. So let's now start, right? So when you're using GoSeek, you are trying to get some certain data. So for instance, if I showed us the payment function yesterday. So how do we get the payment function and everything? So let me just put some data down so that with this data, we can actually achieve what we want to achieve. So let's assume you want to actually go for a loan, okay? So right here, I'll just copy this. So that's that. So let's assume we want to borrow a loan. So we are planning for a capital investment. So let's look at the amount that we actually need for that investment. So amount to borrow. Amount that we want to borrow from the bank. So actually is at the present value. So the amount is like 100,000, 1, 2, 3, fine. Then let's say the bank is asking for a certain rate, right? So we say that expected annual interest rate is like, let's say it's expected annual interest rate is 6%. So that is expected annual interest rate. Then the next one we have expected year to pay off. So expected year to pay off, we talk about, let's say like want to pay off in 10 years time. Then we now ask ourselves that, okay, if you are taking this loan, at least we need to have a payment plan that we want to be paying it back. So we now say that monthly payment, right? Monthly payment. So what is the plan that we have to pay back this loan? So we need to have it from the start before we go for the loan. So monthly payment is what we have over here. So I don't know what I'm even typing self. Monthly LY. So monthly payment, and there's no gap in between here. So now the monthly payment now is what we want to achieve. So here, we're going to put this one as probably a color to indicate what we actually want to achieve. So yeah, now the next thing you want to do is that you want to now use the payment function. So the payment function, as I said yesterday, it has two arguments actually, okay? It has two arguments. Then we're going to look at the syntax for the payment function. So let's quickly put here the payment function. Using the payment function, can we say it's three arguments? Because I can see that we use three things. There's a comma, right? So let's now look at the syntax of a payment syntax of the payment function. So the syntax of the payment function, we come here, we say equal to, we now say PMT, we open our bracket, we now say the first thing is going to be the interest we want to pay, the interest, right? We put a comma, we now say payback period, that's the next one, payback underscore, no, not this, payback underscore, payback period. Then the last one, we put a comma as well. Then the last one, we now talk about the present value, which is going to be like the current loan that we are going for. So that's the present value. So this is the syntax of a payment function, okay? So we need this stuff. We actually need it here. So to be able to get the amount that we need to start paying, repaying monthly, because we can't just wait for the end of the year to start paying, right? Even if you have to wait till the end of the year, how much are you supposed to pay at every year end? You need to like plan. People that do data analysis or all those things, or a financial manager, one of your function is to enable management to be able to plan ahead. So you want to actually go for this loan. This is the loan you are going for. They've told you that the annual interest is 6%, and then the repayment period is 10 years. So you want to ask yourself that how much are we paying? How much are we going to be paying monthly when we go for this loan? So you now come here using the payment function, you say equal to, you now say PMT, right? You open your bracket. Don't forget that it has three arguments. The first thing is the interest rate. So what is the interest rate? The annual interest is 6%. But don't also forget that this annual this 6% is actually annual, and we are dealing with monthly. So to get the percentage that you're going to pay per month, you need to divide it by 12. So once you've done that, then the next thing you want to do is you want to put a comma, right? Then the next thing is you want to now select the the year that you're going to use to repay. Now, because this is 10 years, right? But we are trying to get it into months. So if you are dividing this your 10 by, or no, to get it monthly, right? In one year, there is 12 months. So in 10 years, it's going to be 10 times 12. So that's why we are going to multiply this now. We're multiplying it by 12 to show that each of the years in that 10 years, there is 12 months in each of those years. That's why we're multiplying it by 12. The next thing you want to do, you want to put a comma. When you put a comma, then the last thing you want to do is, you want to now say, okay, this is the present value of what we are going for. Now you close your bracket and then you click your enter. Okay, so you can see that here now, every month is expected that we pay 1,110 naira point 21 cents to the bank or wherever it is. Now, if you don't want this thing to be looking like a negative, right? Since it's a payment you're going to make and you're making it out of your account, so that's why you're actually seeing it is in bracket, right? However, if you don't want it to be in a bracket, right? If you're not comfortable by it, you can click on it and multiply it by -1, or you can simply come to this place, right? And just put it like minus and put enter. Then you can see that here, this is going to become a positive, right? So this is how to do the payment, the payment function when we are trying to look at goal-seek analysis. But we are not done. Goal-seek is broader than this, right? So when we do this analysis and then we discover that we have to pay a monthly payment of 1,110.21, let's assume that we can't afford this, right? So we want to say, okay, why don't let us see what we can do? Probably we still need this 100,000, right? $100,000, but we don't have up to 1,110 naira to be paying every month. So let's say your Oga now told you in the office that, please try and do it. Let's still work with this 100,000 and let's still make sure that we're getting 100,000, but adjust this your payment amount to get what we can afford by month. So what you do is that you now click on where this formula is, right? Click on where the formula is. Now go to your data tab. When you get to your data tab, you click on it, you come to the far right, you're going to see what if analysis. So click, there's a drop down arrow beside the what if analysis. That drop down arrow will give you your scenario manager, your goal-seek, and your data table. So we are doing goal-seek now. Just click on your goal-seek, right? Now when you click on your goal-seek, automatically the set cell is this place, the formula place that we selected. Now, what amount do we think we can afford? Okay, let's say we can afford $1,000. So in this place, to value, let's say we can afford just $1,000, right? So where are you going to change? Where are you going to change in order to be able to afford these 1,000? Okay, so we can say that the most easiest place to change, you may not be in control of the interest rate. The interest rate is the bank. The bank is the one that controls the interest rate. Let's assume we now say that, okay, we don't want to affect the interest rate. We don't also want to change this amount I want to borrow. Let's now try and work on the numbers of years that we want to pay back that loan. So click on this place, right? And come and pick this item over there. So automatically, we are saying that now, this is what we want to change. We want to change this monthly payment that we have. We don't want to pay up to this amount per month. So how much do you want to pay? We want to pay 1,000 per month. Then what are we ready to change in order to be able to achieve that? We are ready to change the numbers of years, okay? So we now click on OK, and let's see what happens. So automatically, it's now telling us that if you are going to be able to pay that 1,000 naira, right? It's telling us that the duration will no longer be 10 years, but the duration will rather be what? 11.5 years. Okay, so the duration is going to be 11.5 years. We can come here, so we can click on OK, and it's fine. Okay, so it's going to be 11.5 years. So we can come here now and come to our home page, home tab, and come and take away some of these zeros. some of the decimals. Let's eliminate the decimals, right? So we have something like this. Okay, so this is what we have over here. So you can see that here we're able to actually work on each of these things, right? But in case you don't only want to change only one value, let's assume you want to change more than one value, we can still do that. And that is what is going to lead us to what we call the scenario. So let's look at the next one. The next one is going to be what? Using scenarios in formula. So that's what is going to lead us to the next one. So let's quickly copy this, our heading, we copy it, and then we'll come over here. We come and put it here, and now we'll say using scenarios in formula. So using scenarios in formulas. Okay, so that is that. So how do we use scenarios in formula? So this is what we're going to do. Let's go back to this data that we have. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to copy this one like this. I'll copy it like this, then I'll just duplicate it. You know how to duplicate already. Once you go to the edge of those surrounded region, right? You just hold your control key, left click, and then drag to the bottom. So that's what I'm doing. I left click and then I'm dragging it to, sorry, it's too fast. I'll do a click and I drag to the bottom. So I'll drop my left click first before I move my hand from the control key. So what I want to do is that I want to now use scenarios, okay, in formula. So what we are going to do is that we are not going to click anywhere, okay, when we are doing scenarios. But if you are looking at this other one, we usually click on, what's it called? We usually click on the formula. But in this other regard, we'll not click on anything. We just click anywhere. So we now come to the data tab again, right? When we come to the data tab, this time around, we are simply going to go to that what if analysis. And at the top here, you can see scenario manager. So we just click on scenario manager, fine. Then the next thing you want to do is that you want to click on add. Click on add, fine. Then the first thing we're going to do is that we say, let's name this one. Let's say the lowest. Let's say the lowest amount. Let's also have the lowest amount. So if you're having the lowest amount, you come to this place where you have this changing cell. So come here. When you come here, you clean away everything that is here. Now you now come to this place where the data is. You select the data. Select the data. Once you select the data, don't select where this your formula is, okay? Because formulas is not what we want to change. We can adjust any other thing, but the formula, you leave the formula the way it is. So we now come to here where we have created by. We also clean this away. I want to call it what's it called? Let's also call it lowest value or amount or whatever it is. So lowest value. So we now click on OK. Let's click on OK. Let's see what will happen. Okay, so it's showing us what the lowest value is. So if you are going for the lowest value, we now say, okay, now for the lowest value now, we already have 1,000 at this place. So how much can we actually afford? Let's say we cannot, we don't want to go for 100,000 any longer. So we are trying to check, okay, if you are going for so amount, what is the payment, what is the payment plan per month? If you are going for the original amount, what is the payment plan per month? If you are going for the highest amount, what is the payment plan per month? So let's assume we don't want to go for 100,000 now. We want to go for like, let's say 95,000, okay? So let's say 95,000 is what we want to pick here. Then we can change this one from 6%. Let's say we are taking 5%, for instance, right? We are taking 5% over there, and then we want to pay it back in, let's say, want to pay back in 10 years. Want to pay back in, let's say, like 10 years or something like that. So let's see what's going to happen. So once we are done with this, right, we can click on add. Let's click on add so that we can do other scenarios. We've done the first one. We can simply click on OK, and then it will just change everything that we have here. But let's click on add first because we want to do other scenarios. as they call the name scenarios, we keep doing different ones. So let's add again. So this time around, we want to call this one original value, original value or original amount. Then here, want to see, I think it's the same place is what is selected, but to be sure, let's select here, let's delete it and come and we select. We are selecting from the amount we are borrowing to the interest rate to the year of repayment. Remember, I told us we shouldn't click on where the formula is. Fine. When I come back to our box, we also take away this one. We say this is the original amount. Original amount. Okay, so that's the original amount. So you now come to okay. So now this is actually the original amount that was there before. Fine. Let's now go to add again. Let's now go to the highest value or a higher value. Let's say we are going for a higher value. Okay, we are going for a higher value. So this time around, it's still the same place that is selected. We want to change this one to higher value. So this higher value. Then we now come over here to okay. Then we now want to select it. Instead of us having like let's say 100,000 here, let's say we want to go for something higher. Let's say we want to go for like 120,000. Okay, 120,000, and probably we also want to change this stuff from 11. We want to go 12 years and all that. You can do any adjustment you want to do. Okay, you can do any adjustment. At the end of the day, you can just click on our OK. Now you can see everything. We now in this our box, we have the lowest amount, we have the original value, we have the highest value, and so on and so forth. So let's say we want to show it. Okay, we show it. Okay, we want to come to original. So if you carry this thing away from here now, you see that here this is the highest value. Okay, we say that we're going for 120,000, maintaining that same 6% and all that, and we are going to pay 1,171 naira per month. You can come over here, so you cannot edit that because you are using scenario. Then the next thing you can do is that you can now also say you want to show these the original amount. So show it, look at the original amount. Then you can go for the lowest amount also. You also want to show it, right? So at the end of the day, you can easily click on this close. When you click on close, then any other time you can go back to your data again. When you go back to your data, go back to your what if analysis, go to your scenario manager and look at it again. You have it here again. Then what can you do? Let's look at this summary. Okay, so this is summary now. Do you want to just have the scenario summary, or you want to have it as a scenario pivot table report? So let's try the scenario summary. Let's look at what it's going to show us. So let's click on scenario summary now. Okay, scenario summary. Right, so this is where we want to have it. No, let me click this one. Let me delete it. So let's say we want to have it somewhere around here, right? So let's click on OK. Now let's see what's going to happen. Yeah, so you can see this is the scenario summary. The scenario summary actually came to another sheet. So in this sheet now, we are having here, this place is actually the amount? We can call it the amount over here. So this is the amount. Here is the interest, sorry. And here at the bottom here is the numbers of years. So years. So you can see that with this, we are able to achieve as much as possible. So here, all these things, they are just naturally, they are just natural. They are not formulas. You can actually use them. You can even print them out. If you click on Control P, you see that you can print out this stuff. It's going to show here in a printable manner. So when you have all those scenarios, you want to like compare different different period and all that, and then that is how to go. So, any question before we move on, before we go to another thing? Any question? Any question before we move on? If you can hear me, let me see a thumbs up. All right, fine. So let's move on. So being able to do this, our scenario, and it's easy. It's just like the way we did our normal goal seek. For your goal seek, right, you actually need to select where the formula is. Okay, if you want to use goal seek, you select where the formula is. Then you now have to go to your data. You want to go to the data. From the data, you want to go to the what if analysis, click on it and go to your goal seek. Once you click on goal seek, then you want to say, okay, this formula that I'm selecting is showing us the value that we need to pay per month, right? Let's assume that is not 1,000 that we can pay. Let's assume we can pay something higher. So let's say, okay, let's pay what we can pay something higher. So let's come, we say we can pay actually 1.5. Okay, so since we can pay 1.5, which of the cells we want to adjust in order to achieve that 1.5? Let's say we want to adjust the numbers of years, right? So want to adjust the numbers of years, or you can adjust the percentage also, or it could also be that is the amount you want to adjust and all those stuff. So we have said that, okay, we don't want to pay just 1,000. 1,000 is too small for us to pay per month. We can pay something higher than this. Let's assume we can actually afford 1.5. Okay, so you click on, you put the amount we can afford under the place you call to value. Remember, set cell is actually where the data is, where you have your monthly payments. This is where we selected before, and that's what is at the top. Then this place, by changing what cell, we have selected that I want to change the years. That's what we want to select. So when I click on OK, and automatically you can see what happens. Now it's telling us that if we want to be paying 1.5 per month, then we can actually pay it faster. We can pay it within 6.8 years, right? So that's what it's saying. So that's how to use your goal seek. But to use your scenario, right, you don't need to click on anywhere. Just click outside anywhere and then go to your data. When you go to your data, you come to your what if, then select your scenario manager. When you select your scenario manager, then you want to start what you want to do. So you can decide to delete what you have there before and start afresh. So we can click on add. When you click on add, you want to call it the names. So let's say most highest. Well, so we want to have something like this, right? Then the place we are selecting now, don't also forget that you need to select where the data is. You are selecting the amount, the interest rate. You're also selecting the repayment period, but do not select the where we have our formula or where we are having our answer. Once you've selected that, then come to this comment. You can put any comment you want to put there, okay? So you can put any comment you want to put here. So highest value, and at the end of the day, you can just say okay. So once you say okay, so it's not that you, after you've said okay, it's not that you want to now set it. You know, we've already say okay, is the highest value you want to quit. So we now come in and say okay, let's say we want to work on 150,000 here. Then we can also change the percentage. Let's say we want to pay 7%. Then let's say want to finish it in the next, let's say 4 years. In the next 4 years, right? So once you do that, you can just come okay. So now we have the lowest amount, we have the original value, we have the higher value, we have the highest value. So if you click on the highest value, right, and you click on show, you can see it has adjusted it that okay, if we are taking 150,000 and then we are going for an interest rate that they are charging us 7%, and then we say we want to pay back in 4 years' time, then we need to be paying 33,591 per month. So you can do a lot of scenarios as you want. So once we have done that, you can click on close, or you can just click on summary. Let's click on summary now. And this time around, we've done summary before, right? This time around, let's click on scenario pivot table report. Let's click on scenario pivot table report, right? And then let's click on OK. So here we have it now, scenario pivot table report. So automatically, this is what it's giving us. For the value, this is what the value is. And these are the highest, the lowest, the whatever. So that is that. All right. So we've done pivot table before. So I will not bother myself on this one, actually. I won't bother myself on this pivot table. But let me see. Yeah. Let me come back to this, our scenario. No, not this one. The other one. So here we have okay. So here is actually, this is 379. 379. 3. So we have E375. Okay, maybe I clicked on something wrong. E375. Let me go and check. E375. E375. I guess this is where I clicked on, right? Rather than clicking on here. Okay, so let me repeat it. Let me delete this one first, or let me change it. So it's supposed to be like, what should it be? Let me see. Okay, I remember I'm working with a pivot table. So let me come back and let's redo it. So let's come and go back to our data. When we go back to our data, we come to our what if analysis, we come to our scenarios that we had already. Yeah, somebody is raising his hand up. Abba.
Yes, sir. I think you are correct actually, because on the TV table there is a segment where you can still like um if you go to the TV table now the shop, I think I'm seeing something like maybe because you selected or that's why you're seeing the difference.
Okay, so thank you. What I want to see is actually the value itself. Okay, so that value itself was what I wanted to see. That's why I had to go back again and try and redo it. So let's say I want to show it again. Let me just try it again. So I come to like the summary, right? So that's summary now. Rather than having it there, let me click on this. Let me see what happens. Okay, so let's assume this is the amount I want to show. Then let me now come here and just click on OK. Let's see what happens now. Okay, you can see that here we have values over here now. Do you notice that we have value? So original amount is 1,000. Do you remember? We said that for the original amount, we are ready to pay 1,000 naira. Whereas for the highest value, we are going to pay 3,591. While for the lowest amount, we are ready to pay this amount. Then the higher amount, we are paying 1,171. So this is how we're able to do that. So where the figure is going to be here under that place where you have your formula. That's where your value is going to be. Then your rule. For your rule, you are picking all. So I think this knows how is sorted it, right? Because it's inside that scenario box that it generated all these figures, right? So, and then since our value is inside the value box, we are okay. Then under the rule, we have all the higher, the whatever there is still making sense to us. So that's how it should be, and that is fine. So let's go back to our sheet and let's continue again. So it means that this is not correct. I'm deleting this one because we needed to select where our answer was before we create the pivot table. And that is what we did differently that made us to get the answer. So we have to select this place before we open the pivot table. So is that fine? Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, I think so.
Okay, thank you. So now we now go further. So I think we are done with the using scenario and all that. So the next one I want to work on is this using data tables in formula. So this is another thing we can also work on. So let's quickly copy this one, using data tables in formula. And this is also very, very wonderful. So let's come over here before I now show us an add-on that we have in Excel that we are not aware of that is there. So there are a lot of add-ons we have on Excel. We have we need to activate macros. We need to do a lot of things. Okay, when you have like some tasks that you normally repeat most of the times, right? You can just use macro to record those activities. Probably there are tasks that you must do every day, and then there's a lot of manual input into it, manual labor. You can just use macro to record your steps, and automatically, when you have another data like that one, the macro that you have worked on, automatically the macro, you will just activate the macro on that data, and macro start working on that data, and it's going to achieve the same end result that you normally achieve before. So you have to record your steps as you are working. For instance, if you go and you click, you select row 1, macro is going to record it. You have applied a control B, macro will record it. You sum, macro will record it. You divide everything you did in that sheet, in that to that data before you got your final result. Macro will record all the steps. So anytime you just have that kind of data again, you don't need to come and be working on it again to start repeating all the things you have done before. Macro is going to remember all the things you did before, and macro is going to just give you your end result immediately. Even if it took you like 10 years to be able to get that report done, okay? As far as you are recording it, as you're doing it, macro is watching. Macro is watching what you're doing. So once you have any other data like that again, just give it to macro and then apply the macro, because as you have recorded that step, you're going to name it what that macro is. Automatically, when you open any other, that same report next time, a data that you want to convert into that report, once you open it like that, and then you just need to go and activate that macro on it, automatically that macro will go and do everything that you did before. It's going to repeat all those steps on that data and get the desired result that you wanted to get. So that is how to use macro. We're also going to learn that gradually. So today is the 18th. I hope we have time to actually work on macros. So let's continue. So this is yeah, so now using data tables in formulas. So I am sure that this our scenario that we've worked on is not confusing. Our goal seek as well is not confusing. So the next step we want to work on is using data tables in formula. Obviously, if you go to this data, right, you come to what if analysis, you discover that these are the 3 that is available on Excel naturally. But if you want to go ahead to do more advanced analysis, there's something we're going to go and activate, and that thing is going to appear over here. Anytime we click on data, you see that thing is going to appear over here. And with that thing, you can do more complex and advanced analysis with Excel. So Excel is good for data analysis. So what we're going to do now is that we want to go a step further to look at how to use tables in our formula. So what we're going to do, let's still copy our data that we have before. So we have this data that we have here. Let's copy the original one. Okay, so let's copy this one over here. So I want to copy this like this. So I just come to the edge. Once it becomes that plus sign, I left click. I hold my control key and I drag it to anywhere I want to drag it to. Okay, so here we go. I want to put it right here. So now we are working on using data tables in formula. So another thing I want to do is that apart from me doing this thing that I've done now, let me also fine-tune this, right? So now here, I wouldn't put this here any longer. I'm going to delete this one from here. I want to delete this one from here. So hold on. So I will delete this one from here. So fine. So then the next thing you want to do is this. We want to actually get, let me copy these and put it here. Ctrl V. Fine. So what we want to do is that I want to now get so our payment now, our payment is going to be somewhere else. So yeah, let's put our payment here. Let's just say we have a payment here, payment, pay. So this is our payment. So our payment is going to be here. Then we're going to draw a box like something like this to the bottom, right? So that's what we're going to draw to the bottom like this. Then we're going to press Control 1. I'll press our Control 1. We want to put a border at this as surrounding this stuff. Let's click on the thicker border. We want to have the total outline. I want to click on OK. So now here at this place, this is where we're going to have our data, our monthly payment now. Our monthly payment is going to be here. So it's no longer going to be here again. So it has been moved to this place because we want to actually work on tables, right? So what I'm going to do now is this. Under this our whatever, we are going to have here. We're going to have something here. We're going to have numbers. Let's say these are years. Okay, these are years. So let me do something. Let me try and make this thing. Let me increase this thing by one step. I just want to. Oh, sorry. I want to increase this thing by one step. I want to come all over here. Then I'll now press. Sorry. Are we together? Insert. I want to insert it to insert cell to the right. Okay, let me do that. Okay, yes, okay. All right, so oh no. Okay, so let me redo it, Control Z. And rather than do this, let me just quickly add another place. Okay, so Control 1. Then I want to come over here and I want to put this like this and take away these and click on OK. Right, so this is what we have now. So here we're going to have like a possible. There's no way I can make this thing turn up like I'm coming, possible like. So let me do something like this. Let me use I want to use okay, so let me do something like this. Possible. Okay, so this is going to be possible here. So let me merge it, merge and center, merge. Right, so here I'm going to have like possible years. Okay, so let me click here and make it bigger. I'm going to come here and I want to increase it from there to something like this. Okay, then I want to also make it go to the middle. Okay, and let's make this one like possible P. Okay. Okay, so once I have this like this now, I want to copy it. Once I copy it, I want to now come here and paste it. I want to paste it like, let me click here. I want to paste it like a picture. So where is that picture? Paste like a picture. Let me see. Format out, paste link, paste picture. So this is it. So I pasted like a picture. So I want to now turn it. Like that. Okay, like this. All right. So I'll take this one over here and I'll put it here like this. Okay, so let me reduce this one like this. Let me reduce this one like this. So here now we have the possible years, right? So under this place now, we're going to have like, we're going to have year 1. We're going to have year 1, year 10, year 15, year 20, year 25, year 30, year 40, and so on and so forth. We can also have year 45, okay? So now here is in this place now, we want to put our formula. Remember our formula, our payment formula, when I say equal to PMT, we open our bracket, right? When we open our bracket, we now say that interest is the first one. So interest divided by 12 to get monthly, right? We put a comma. Then we now say the next one is the numbers of years we are paying off. This Abi times 12. Times 12, we put a comma. Then the last one will now say the year, the amount itself. We close the bracket and then we now click on enter. So automatically we are going to have like 1,000, right? So what I want to do is I want to now select all this region. We select all this region like this together, all this region, right? Once we select it, right, then we now go to plus the formula. We select everything together. We now come to our data tab. When we come to our data tab, we come to our what if analysis. We come to our data table. When we come to our data table, now it's asking us, what is our row input cell? Obviously, we don't have anything on the row, but we have years. Now, what are we trying to achieve? We are trying to say that, okay, for us to be able to adjust the amount that we want to pay, we don't have power over the interest rate. The bank has power over the interest rate, right? We don't have that power. But the only thing we have power against is we can either have power over the numbers of years. We can say, okay, we don't want to pay it in 11 years. We want to pay it in a shorter year, maybe year 1. Or want to pay it in 10 years time, or want to pay it in 15 years time, or want to pay it in 20 years time, and so on and so forth. Then later, when we now do another one, we can now also say that, okay, we want to pay it in either like that. Then we can also say, okay, we don't want to go for 100,000 anymore, but we want to go for something smaller or something bigger or something like that. So we can also say that as well. But now we don't have anything on the roll. On the roll, we would have had something like the payment, the amount. Probably if we are saying, okay, we are going for 100,000 or we are going for 200,000 or so on. But now we only have things on the column. So here in our column, right? In our column, we want to now say, what are we using to replace this column? This number, this years, what are we using? If we don't want to pay it in 11 years, then we can go ahead and pay and decide that, okay, what if we are paying it in 1 year? What if we are paying it in 10 years? Like that. So inside this, our column, what we're going to use to replace it is this value is going to be replaced by all these years. Unmute your mic and let me be sure you understand what I'm saying. So you know that normally we're supposed to pay back in 11 years, 11.6 years, right? So we are now saying, okay, what if we want to now test possibility of not paying it back in 11 years? Let's say, what if you want to pay back in 1 year's time? What if you want to pay back in 10 years' time? What if you want to pay back in 15 years' time? What if it's 20 years' time I want to pay? So we want to look at those possibilities. So those years, they are all in this column. There's nothing in roll yet. So we're only having something in column, and this is fine. So what are we using to replace all these things in this column? We are using years. Years is what we want to adjust, right? So once we select column input cell, while using what is in the column to replace our expected years to pay off. So once we have done that, we click on OK. Let's see what happens. Automatically, it's telling us that if we decide to actually take it 1 year, want to pay it in 1 year's time, then we need to pay so amount per month, right? So we need to pay so amount per month. So here now is telling us that if we decide that we only want to repay it back in 1 year's time, then we might not, what we are going to pay is no longer going to be 1,000, okay? Because if we are paying 1,000, then it means that I want to pay it in 11 years. But if we decide that we want to only pay back in 1 year, it means that this amount, we are going to be paying 8,600 and something every month. So if you take this amount, you multiply it by 12 months. Yes, So once you multiply this by 12 months, what are we going to have? Multiply 8,606.64 by 12. What are you going to have? Is anybody doing that? So what are we going to have?
Or do we want to create another column by the side?
No, don't create another.
And multiply it by 12. Okay.
So if you multiply by 12, okay, yeah, we can actually do that.
Yeah.
103 279.6
equals to this, Abi, times
Yes.
12.
Yes, sir.
Times 12. So we're going to have,
Yeah.
so 103. Now, don't forget that the reason why we have 103 is because we don't forget that interest. You're going to pay interest as well.
Yes.
It's not around, you're paying interest. The amount you borrowed is not exactly how much you are going to pay. Don't forget, you're paying interest as well.
Plus the principal. Okay.
Yes, so interest plus the principal, that's how you got what you have
Oh.
over there. So that is why we got what we have over there. So if you want to check this one also, you can also do this and then multiply it by 12. So this is going to be 10 times 12 times this amount. You're going to get your answer.
You can just draw them like that, I think.
No, it will not work that way because this is just one year. We're working by year. This is 1 year.
Yeah. I understand.
But this is 10 years. So that is that. So that's how we're able to get, okay, so this is what you are paying back. This is what you are paying back. If you want to do for each of them, you can also go ahead and do that. But what you just want to achieve is that we want to achieve how much we are going to be paying back per month is what we're trying to achieve, okay? So if you are deciding that we want to still go for this same loan and we want to pay the same 6% interest, then we should be ready to pay this amount per month for us to be able to pay everything off in 1 year. I don't know if you understand. So if you also say you want to go for this loan with this interest rate, then if you want to pay it back in 10 years, you should be ready to pay this amount per month, okay? You have to pay this amount per month, okay? And then it will allow us to pay it back in 10 years time. So if you want to now do this thing now, let's now say equal to this, right? Now say times, okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I need to put, okay, this times, I open my bracket, so times, I open my bracket and I say this value times 12, times 12. I close my bracket and I put enter. What's going on?
There's a mistake there. You put 8. You added 8 instead of D394.
I'm coming. Let me try to understand what you said. This Abi, is this I selected now? Let me try it again. Okay, so I'll say equal to this Abi. Yes. Times. Okay, it's times. Let me just times everything. Times this, then times 12. Okay, so now let's now adjust this. Well, let's now make everything. Okay, let me borrow the painter of this. Come down, borrow painter, and come and put it all over here. Fine. So now let's also do something. Let's also come here. Let's also put a comma. Okay, so this is what we're going to have. So if we decide that we're going to pay it in 1 year's time, we are going to pay back 103. If we say we are paying it back in 10 years' time, we are paying this amount, right? If we say we are going to pay back in 15 years' time, so let's see what's going to happen. So now we can now autofill now. I think since we have gotten a good formula, we can autofill it now, and then we're going to get this. So if you are paying, so you can see what you are paying. So if you are paying back in just 1 year time, obviously your interest will not be so much on you because your interest, right? So your interest will not be so much. You are going to pay 103,000, right? But if you are paying it back in 10 years time, you're actually paying extra 33,000 on it. You are paying it back in 15 years, you're paying extra 51,000. You are paying back in 20 years, 71,000. You are paying it back in 25 years, 93,000 extra. You are paying it back in 30 years time. So you are seeing you're paying 115,000 extra. Then if you're paying it back in 40 years time, you're paying it back in so amount. So you can see the way. So you can see the way. So the here now is your principal plus. So this is your principal. Sorry, principal plus interest. So that's what gave us what we have over there. Okay, so it's not actually part of the analysis, but we are just trying to like look at it critically to be sure of what is happening in that place. So you have seen what I've done. I was able to actually put something over here so that we can see that this is years. These are the years, right? So yeah, let me now do something now. Let me now make this place control. So let me come here and close this place. Okay, fine. Let's see what happens. Okay, so that's fine now. So this is what we have now. So these are the years. These are the years, and then these are the values that we got. So at the top here, should I also put years? Years. Okay, so fine. So that's how we're able to achieve this. But let's assume that we don't only want to adjust just the years. What if now you know that the things that we have power over here, the things we have power over, we don't have power over the interest rate. Interest rate is always going to be determined by the bank. Okay, there's no power over interest rate. Interest rate will be determined by the bank. But there are things that we have power over. We have power over what we are going for, right? We have power over the numbers of years that I want to use to repay. So let's now do something, right? Let's now come over here and let's copy this thing again. And let's try once more. Okay, I can also try and, okay, let me try and copy this one also, like this. Then I will come here. Okay, so I come here now. You can see that it did not only copy the data, it's also copy the picture I also put here. So this is a picture. So if you are working in Excel, you must understand how to do all these things, how to be able to put a picture, how to do all these things. You have to be very professional when you're working with Excel, okay? You have to be very professional so that you can actually achieve anything you want to achieve in Excel. You have to be very skillful when it comes to Excel, okay? So that is that. Actually, that is that. Are we together?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is that. Yeah. So now let's now check out here. Let's assume that what we want to do now is we are not only trying to only talk about the payment. So we are not only particular about changing the years, right? Let's assume we're also talking about different options. Okay, probably we're also saying, what if we want to now choose a different year? We also want to choose a different amount that we want to borrow. So what are the possibilities that we can achieve? So that is what we want to go further to go and look at now in this time around. So let's do something like this. Don't forget that year before we have 10 here. This is 10, this is 10 years. Don't also forget that this is 100,000 before. I mean 1, 2, 3. Now, because this thing was, we have a negative figure here. That's why everything we had was not giving us a positive, right? But let's just leave that. We now come over here, right? So what I'm going to do now is this. This is what I'm going to do. This right here, I'm going to shift it from here. I'm going to shift it to this side. Okay. So I've shifted our formula to that side. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to now come over here and also create additional spaces. So let's say I want to get, let's say I want to get, let's say I want to reduce the amount. If I want to have like 90, let's say we are going for 90 here. We are going for 95 in the next place, 95. We are going for 100, 100, 1, 2, 3, 105, 1, 2, 3, 110, 110. Oh, what am I doing? Okay, 105. Then we have 110, 1, 2, 3. Then the last one we can have 115, 1, 2, 3. So the next thing is that we have to adjust this our whatever we have. So let me come like this, and let me come all the way down. Okay, all the way down. Then I come to my control one. When I click on control one, I want to select the highest, the thickest stuff. I click like this to actually get what I want to achieve. Then I click here, I unclick, then I click on OK. So automatically, I've been able to adjust everything that I have over here. So now I have this big whatever. I want to delete this, right? So okay, so that's that. So now this is what we have done. We've been able to, let's say we are not only trying to look at the possibilities of having different years, right? We're also saying that what if we are also not just sticking to one figure? What if we want to like check if we borrow lesser, what is the possibility? If we borrow higher, what is the possibility? So we are doing 90,000, we are doing 95,000, we are doing 100,000, 105,000, 110,000, 115,000. So we are just looking at those possibilities, right? So we can also come here. Let's stop at, okay, it's good, it's fine, it's fine. So let's now say that here now, we now want to do, yeah, so what we're going to do now is that we are going to select everything. Now remember, this time around, my payment formula is actually over here, right? It's actually over here, and is the other time this one was here, but now this one must be here because at the side like this, we're going to have the different amount we are going for. Underneath, we are going to have the different years that we are also considering. Okay, so with that being said, let's now select everywhere in this box, every damn place in this box. Okay, so we are going to select it where the data is. We are going to stop like this. So the next thing we want to do is that we will now go to our data tab again. When we go to our data tab, we come all the way to the right, and we come and see our what if analysis. So under our what if analysis, we are selecting data. Okay, now we are now asking ourselves that in the role input, right? Under the role, what do we have on the role? We actually have the amount we are going for, Abi. So what are we replacing by all this amount that we put here? We are trying to replace this 100,000. So in the role input, I'm going to pick the amount, which is 100,000, okay? So this 100,000, we want to replace it by all these possibilities, okay? That's why we put it in the role input cell. We're replacing this 100,000, right? We are trying our possibility that, okay, what if we are going for 90,000? What happens? What if you are going for 95,000? What will happen? What if you are going for 100,000? Okay, like that, like that, like that, like that. Then under the column input, which is this is the column, what are we replacing by this 1 year, 10 year? We are replacing, let's come over here. We are replacing this year. That's what we are replacing it with all these possibility, okay? We are placing it with all these possibilities. So once we've selected like that, we can just click on OK and everything is done. So now the reason why we have negative figures is because here we have this. So if we decide to like put a minus sign in front of this, so if we have a minus sign in front of that, then let's try our whatever again. Let's delete everything inside here. Okay, let's delete everything inside here. Sorry. Let's delete everything inside here. Okay. Delete. Well, let me just press Ctrl Z. Ctrl Z. Okay. Ctrl Z is not working now. Okay. So I have to delete it now. Let me quickly delete. Hold on. Uh-oh. Wow. our this thing as angle. Okay, so let's come over here and let's delete all these things. I think it's not allowing me to delete. I don't know. Let me try it again. Delete, undo, escape. Is that allowing me to delete it? Okay, so I guess to delete this thing now, probably I will go from the data tab. Or let me delete one after the other. To not permit me. It won't permit me. So what I'm going to do is that I have to go from the data tab. Let's go to the data tab. Let's go back to our what if and let's come to our table. Okay. Cancel the table. That means that once you have done this thing, you may not be able to delete it. Let me come over here and see something again. Let me come here and click here. Okay, so everything is there. You cannot delete it. You can't delete it anytime you use the table, whatever. So just note that, okay? So now, what I'm going to do now is that everything is correct. The only thing we are having now is that we are having negative figures. The reason, obviously, is because we didn't put a negative number in front of this thing before we did our analysis. Okay, but at the same time, we still got everything that we want to achieve. So let's try and eliminate some decimals. Let's see if it's going to allow us to actually eliminate decimals. So let's come over here and click on home. We click on home. So I want to take away some decimals from here. Let's see if it's going to allow us. Okay, fine. That is fine. So I actually allowed us to take away decimals. Okay, so this is it. So if we decide that we want to go for a lesser loan, right? Considering the same 6%, we want to go for a lesser loan. I want to pay back in just 1 year. This is the amount that is telling us that we are going to be paying back per month, right? Per month for that 1 year. Okay. So if we are going for this amount we are paying back per month, when we are paying back in 1 year, we are going for 100,000. This amount we are paying back per year. Okay. If we are going for only 1 year, like that. So if we are going for 90,000 and we are trying to pay back in 40 years time, right? Yeah, so it's going to be lesser, right? It's going to be lesser. That is how it is. So any question? Is there any question from what we have done? We've worked on, we did go seek now. We also work on scenario in formula. We also work on using data tab in formula. Is there any question? Are you confused anywhere? Do you need clarification? Simply speak up before we move on to another area of what we are doing. Anybody, any question? Are you confused? Do you need more explanation?
So it's not my own. It's not as if I'm confused, but when you were trying to delete the data, like when you were trying to put the negative sign and it doesn't work, I don't know. Can you put the negative sign and let's redo it, irrespective of whether we delete or not, and see if it will work? Like that is just my own, so that we can just use it to go over it again.
Okay. So I also remember that before we did this thing, don't forget that we first deleted. There was a time we deleted this side. Do you remember when I copied this data? I copied this data to get this one, right? And we were actually able to delete that time. Well, now I wonder why we are not able to delete. But let me try something here. Let me try and see if I can delete this one. Let me try this one. Let me see. Let's delete. Let's see. Delete is not allowing me. But I was able to delete the other time. Okay. I think something might be wrong. Let me say first, Control S. I don't know if you remember that before is this same box we had before we move it down to this side. Do you remember?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and I was able to delete what was on it. So let me try now again. Let me delete this one. Let me see. Delete. It's not allowing me. So it assumed that I am trying to put a data in that place. So it's editing the formula instead of deleting the formula. So it's editing the formula is rather than, another thing is that my delete button is actually faulty. So rather than deleting it, I'm just pressing backspace, or I'm trying to like erase what is there, backspace. So that is why it's not working. So I guess it assumes that I want to edit what is in that space, but it's the same thing I did the other time when I was trying to delete, right? So let's now do something. Let's try another thing again. Okay, yeah, so we should just put a negative sign here. Negative. Let's see.
Yes, yes. And redo and select
So it didn't work as well. So what we're going to do, I think we need to redo this thing again. So just to be sure, it will not take us more than 2 clicks. So let's just come and just take the shape again. This is the shape, right? So let's just press our Ctrl+1. Then we now put this stuff in the middle, right? We now put, yeah, okay. So the next thing is I want to copy this one. Is there a way we can copy this in? Except I click here and I press and all this thing and I take it here like this. Okay, it actually worked. Yeah, it's actually worked. I actually was able to copy that. Okay, fine. Then I also want to select here and press my Ctrl+1. I'm gonna put my this over here and click on OK. Fine. So here now, so what we're gonna do is we'll come over here, right? We want to also say equal to our payment PMT. Sorry, PMT. Before I do this, okay, this one is having a manual. So PMT, I'll put my bracket. We start with our interest. Our interest rate is actually this, right? So this is a yearly interest. We need to verbally divide it by 12 to get the monthly, because it's monthly we want to get. We put a comma. Then the next thing we want to select is the year. We now say 10 years times 12 to get the numbers of months in those 10 years. Okay, then we put a comma. Then the last thing is I want to select our amount. Then we close the bracket and we'll point enter. Okay, so we are able to get a positive figure over here. Okay, we're going to get a positive figure over here. Okay, so when we have a positive figure over here, then you want to have like 90 here, 90,000, 95,000, 1, 2, 3, 100,000, 105,000, 110,000, 115,000. Fine. Then over here, we want to have like the number. We have 1 year, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, 35, and 40. Then probably we can say 45. Fine. So once we have gotten that, the next thing we want to do is I want to select everywhere in this space. Then we go back to our data tab, come to our what if analysis and select the table. Now this table now is asking us what do we want to replace with what we put on the row. On the row here, we put the amount we want to borrow. So you say, what are we replacing? Okay, what did we use in the formula before that I want to now replace by all these things we put on the row? So obviously, we want to replace this value, okay, by that. Then the next thing, it also is asking us, what do we put on the column that we would like to replace? What did we use in the formula that we want to replace by what we put in the column? Okay, so we actually put years. So come here, we click on years. So once that is done, we click on OK, and let's see what happens. Automatically, it's still giving us a negative figure. Okay, it's still giving us a negative value. So another thing is that I don't know, maybe it's because we are using the same. This formula now is now using, we are using the same formula across different whatever. Maybe that's why already this thing is already giving us a negative here. Okay, maybe that is what is also affecting us to have a negative here. But all the same, even if it's negative, it's showing us that this thing will be paid out from our bank, okay? We paid out from our bank, and that is amount we are going to be paying every month. Every month, if we decide to go for each of those options. Okay, so it's not actually bad per se. It's not bad per se. Okay. Alternatively, probably you can decide to now multiply them by -1. Probably individually, you now come here and now say, yeah, now say that times, let's say times -1. When I put enter, it's not going to allow us. The function isn't valid. So it wouldn't allow us to do that. So yeah, so that's just it. We just leave it that way. Okay. So we want to click on escape and then we go back. So it's actually not allowing us to actually do anything in that regard. So what we're going to do that, I think we are done with this. We are done with the inbuilt functionalities of Excel, right? So let's now go and look at adding a macro to Excel. So there's a, sorry, did I say a macro? Let's go and look at what we are going to, the first thing we're going to activate and add-on. The first add-on that we're going to put on Excel that we don't know that is there, that will be used, that we are going to use for data analysis. Already we've seen how to work on the data table and formula. We know how to work with scenarios. We know how to work with goal seek. That is fine. Now let's now go a step further and let's go and activate one of the add-on. So I'm going to close this sheet because I believe that this sheet is looking faulty. Since it's not allowing us to delete that thing, okay? Probably I will make research on what to do in order to delete that. Because before I was able to delete this thing, all of a sudden it just became an issue, and then we cannot delete any longer. So let's just close this data. Let's close this one. Okay, so I've closed that one. I will open another file. Let me come back to my Excel. And my Excel, I want to open this one. I think it's almost the same, but yeah, so I'll open this one now. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. We have a new worksheet. So this is what I want to do now. I want to go and activate an add-on. I want to activate an add-on. And that add-on we're going to activate is going to enable us to do 3 things. Okay, we're going to learn 3 things when we activate that add-on. Number 1, we're going to learn how to do correlation. Number 2, we're going to learn how to do moving average. And the last one, we're going to do rank and percentage. So we are going to go to activate a add-on, as the case may be. You come to File. When you come to File, you come to Options. When you come to Options, you now come down on this left-hand side. You're going to see Add-ons, right? You're going to see Add-ons. When you click on it, then you're going to see what we call Analysis ToolPak. So Analysis ToolPak. Normally, if it has been activated, you would have seen it under Active Application Add-ons. You would have seen it over here. But because it's not activated yet, that's why you saw it under Inactive Application Add-ons. But if you also check, you don't see it under Inactive Application Add-ons. Inactive Application Add-ons, then there's a possibility that it is not actually in your computer at all. Maybe you tell whoever install your Excel to help you to reinstall it so that you can have those add-ons, okay? So from this add-on, you're going to see that there's one they say Analysis ToolPak, and that one they say Analysis ToolPak VBA, okay? So this VBA is actually used for, I think it's for coding. But that's not what we want to work on today. We want to work on these ToolPak. So let's click on the ToolPak, Analysis ToolPak. When I click on the Analysis ToolPak, we're going to click on Go, right? So when I click on Go, then you can see that here it shows us all the things that we can actually activate: Hero currency tools, solver add-on, analysis ToolPak, VBA. But want to work on the first one, which is just analysis ToolPak. When you click on it, then you click on OK, and automatically it has been added. It's as simple as that. So if we go back to that our file, let's go back to our file, right? We go back to our file, then we come to options. Then for options, we come to add-ons again. Then you see that under active application add-on is already activated, okay? So that is fine. But if it's not activated, it would have been under inactive application add-on. So we are okay by this. Let's close out here, okay? Once we close out, let's come to data again, right? When we come to data, you go to the right-hand side, okay? You are going to see data analysis. You can see it now. This has reflected now. Before, we are only having this what if analysis, this whatever, then we also have this one. But now it has given us another space where we have data analysis, okay? So now we just click on data analysis. We're going to see a lot of functionalities that we can see. So I told us that the first one we're going to work on, there is moving average here. There is a correlation. We're going to work on correlation. I think the last one we're going to work on is we're going to work on rank and percentile. There are a lot of things you can do here. There are a lot of functionalities. So rank and percentile, we're going to work on all those things like that. So let's close out and let us try and begin. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
All right. So let's look at the data we want to use for our percent, our correlation. So probably in order for you to be able to activate your analysis ToolPak, so let's come over here. Let's click on this and let's write a short note on it. So in order for it to guide you on how to activate your analysis ToolPak. So here we say how the ToolPak. So the call is actually coming. I hope it's not disrupting the call, this thing we are having. Okay, so a call came in and yeah, thank God it's not disrupting our meeting. But yeah, so we are still together, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So so how to actually activate the analysis ToolPak? Let me just drop a message for the person so that the person is aware that I am busy at the moment. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So how to activate the analysis ToolPak? The first thing you're going to do is number one, click the file tab to go to backstage view. So once you click the file tab to go to backstage view, number two, scroll down to options, select options. Number three, after clicking on options, on the drop down box, go to the left and locate add-ons. Is it add-ins or something? Add-ins. I think I saw add-ins or something like that.
Add-ins, yes, add-ins.
Then number 4. Number 4, click to activate the analysis ToolPak. So it's PAK actually, not PARK or PALK or PACK. It's PAK. So that's how you are going to activate that. Then the next thing, let's work on. So there are 3 things that we're going to use it for. There are numerous things you can actually use the analysis ToolPak for. Okay, but currently in this class, we're going to use it for 3 things. So three things to use it for in this lecture. So number 1, we're going to work correlation. To get correlation of a set of data. Number 2, to get moving average. Then the next one, number 3, is it rank or weight and rank and percentile? Okay, so to get the rank and percentile. To get the rank and percentile. Okay, so that's how to actually go. So let's start with the first one. The first one is to get the correlation of some data. Okay, so there's a data I'm going to put on the board now, which we're going to use it for. In case we're not able to finalize with this stuff today, probably we might continue it tomorrow. Okay, so the first data now, the first one, to get the correlation of a set of data. So let me quickly put some data on this place. Don't forget that we have activated it already. So if you have not activated your own, you might try and activate it after the class. So we're going to have random data 1, right? We're also going to have like random 2 as well. Random 1 and random 2. So we're going to now start putting random here. Okay, so let's move this one from here over here. Let's move it like this. All right, so 2 random activities. So let's click and go. No, not there. Let's just click here and go downward. So what we're going to put is data, right? So the first one is going to be 157 tab, 21 tab, 128 tab, 171 tab, 194, 59, 168, 192, 91, 113, 172, 198, 174, 138, 178, 198, 101, 144, 157, 95, 197 again. Okay, so this is 50, is it 57? I think 57. 57, then we're going to have 155, 107, 140, 18. So then apart from those, we want to have like 3 extra, 1, 2, 3. So we go like 18, so we have 17. Here we have 53. Here we have 39. Here we have 200. Here we have 71. Here we have 183. Okay, so that's how we're going to get all those random figures that we actually need. Then here now, I want to make this one come to the right aligned. Okay, so this is how we're going to have it. So the first one I want to work on is that I want to work on the correlation of all these figures, right? What's the correlation of all these figures? So what we are going to do is that we select from where the headings are. We select it all through to where the data stopped. Once we've done that, we now come to our data, right? We come to our data, we come to the data analysis, then we come to where we have correlation. We click on correlation, we click on OK. So once we click on OK, look at what we have. Now it's telling us that the input range and the output range. So I want to click on this input range, right? So for the input range now, I think that means that we don't even need to have selected anywhere. So for the input range, sorry, I want to select here now. For the input range, let's select here. This is what goes into the data, right? So when we have that input range that way, automatically Excel is looking at it that this data is actually all on a column. Okay, so the data is actually on a column and it's actually right? So the next one, I want to also say that, okay, the first column that we have here, the first row, sorry, you know, this is a row now. The first row, there is a label. There's a label in a row. That means there's a name, there is a title, the heading, okay? I want to click on the box that is actually true, okay? So when we click on that's actually true, then the next thing is I want to now select our output. Where do we need our output? We now select here. Where do we need our output? We need our output probably over here. Let's have our output here, or let's have our output probably here. Okay. So once we have selected where we want our output, we can go on and click on OK. So automatically, it's telling us that these random numbers, right? That okay, so the correlation between random 1 and random 1 is 100%. The correlation between random, so it's not actually showing the correlation between random 1 and random 2. So there's not here. But the correlation between random 2 and random 2 is 100%, while the correlation between random 2 and random 1 is less than 100%. So they are not really it's not so correlated. So I will not be able to explain to you what the meaning of correlation is. You go and check your dictionary for what correlation is. But when you trace it, you see that there's random here, there's random here, right? There's another random here, there's another random here. So you are going to take random to random is 100%, right? So all these figures, comparing them to each other, they are correlated 100%. But when you now compare them to each other, to like the opposite one, so random 2 now, if you are correlating it to random 1, it's telling you that it's less than 100%. So they are not so correlated, okay? They are not so correlated. So that is how to actually do correlation. Is there any question before we move on? Any question before we move on? Hello, someone should answer.
Yeah, can you please assist to go over how you get the random figure again?
Okay, so let me quickly see if I can delete this. I think there's no formula here. I can delete it.
Thank you very much.
So let me delete it. I'm coming. Let me just try and delete it first. Delete, 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 delete. Okay. Right. So as I've deleted it now, so this is what you're going to do. That means that you don't actually need to select anywhere. You don't need to select anywhere when you're doing all this, your random or whatever. Okay. So just all you need to do is that just go to your data tab. Once you get to your data tab, right, you just want to press on as far as you have activated, as far as you have activated I'm coming. As far as you have activated what I told you to activate, right? So you don't need to select anything first. Just go to your data. As you go to your data, then come to your data analysis. From your data analysis, correlation is selected. Click on OK. Now, anytime you are looking at correlation, there's always what we call input. So it's that input range, that is where you're going to select all the data. So anytime you're working on that analysis, always check out for where you have input range. So for that input range, you are going to select, that is where the selection takes place. So let's clean all these things that are here. Let's go and select again. So for input range, we want to import our data into it. So we're going to say, okay, input range, we are selecting from random 1 to random 2 to all the figures that are beneath it. Once we've selected that, fine. Now, on its own, Excel has looked at it and say, okay, this data that we have here that we selected, they are looking as if they are all on a column, and it's not, Excel is not wrong because all the data are going down on a column, right? Column C and column D, fine. Then the next thing is that you now also check, it's also predicting that, is there an heading, is there like an heading for this data, and it's truly the data has an heading. Random 1 is a data, random 2 is, so that's why I tick this box that there is label in the heading in the first row. So I click on, okay, there's label in the first row. The next thing I want to do is that I want to also now select output. Output is where I want the answer to come out for. The answer that I want to get, where do I want that answer to actually reflect? I'll come and click inside this output vault. I can say, okay, the answer I want to get, let's say I want it to come, I want the answer here, right? This is where I need the answer, okay? I just click on OK, and automatically this guy will come and put my answer that I need over here, okay? So yeah, we can also, okay, for our analysis, right? All these things are not so correlated, though when we check random 1 with this other random, they are correlated, but random 2 against random 1 is not so correlated. So that is how to go. Do we now understand it? Can I move on? Can I move on?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello, sir.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah. Can we say that correlation is the degree of relationship?
Yes, that's it, sir. That's the degree of relationship. Yes.
Hello, sir.
I can hear you.
Yes, we really appreciate you, sir, for your lecture, for giving us a painstaking lecture. And we want to understand what is the objective of doing this, and what is the relevancy to the. So what are the relevancy and the importance to our dynamic record? Thank you.
Okay, so thank you. Now, I'm also checking the sum of all these numbers. So the sum of random 2 is actually 1,947. Then the sum of random 1, let's click down to the bottom. The sum of random 1 is like 2,139. So you can see that these data, they are far apart. For instance, you can be saying, okay, the sales of petroleum and vehicle. Okay, you know, those products, they are almost like you need to have, when you have a vehicle, you must also get like you must also get like, please give me 2 minutes. There's a call that is coming that is very important. 2 minutes, please. 2 minutes. Yeah, okay, so I'm back. I'm back now. So let's see what is happening. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so I think the time is gone. We have like 6 minutes more. So that is that. But when you are looking at correlation, we are like looking at it, how related are these sales? Or you can also try to say that, okay, uh, you can have, like, if you want to also know which of the products is selling well, now look at, okay, what is the correlation between the sales that were made for sugar as against what we made for butter? Okay, like, are they like there's a way they talk about goods that when you sell this one, you must also sell this one. So are they correlated? Though we say petroleum and vehicle, they go hand in hand. When you are buying petroleum, so when you buy a car, you also need to also buy fuel. There's a name they call it. I can't remember in economics. I can't remember. Does anybody remember what they call it when those goods are going together hand in hand? Does anybody remember it?
Joint demand.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, probably joint demand. Yeah. So that's that. So to just know how correlated are they really that correlated? Though they say that they are in joint demand, but are they really ordered in the same proportion? Okay, like, is it the same number of vehicles that you get? Is it tantamount to the same number of whatever? So that's how they do that. Okay, I hope we are following.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
yeah, any other question? Any other question?
No question from my own hand, except a reminder.
Okay.
The reconciliation you said you would try to explore, and today too
Okay.
you mentioned maybe macro. That's
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. No problem. No problem. So today is gone already.
Yeah. So that's
So
for it to be noted in the schedule for us.
okay. No issue, sir. No issue, sir.
Thank
No
you.
issue. Yeah. So on that note, I think we are done with for the class. If there are any question, let's feel free to ask the question, so that feel free to ask the question now before we wind up.
Hello, sir. Maybe in a subsequent lecture, because I still want to. It is very hard for me to believe the relevancy of this correlation, the
Okay.
relevancy to dynamic report.
Okay.
Okay, can I
So
say something about that?
Go on, sir.
Okay, for the guy that asks the relevance, you know, I think what we should know is, for the sake of this class, you are going to agree with me that the data he brought are just random figures that he was trying to use to explain to us how we can use correlation to analyze our results. But in real life, correlation is actually the relationship that exists between two or more things, two or more variables, right? Now you may be given, maybe if you are a data analyst, for example, you may be given a particular data, maybe that has to do with what can I even think of? Let's say sales and advertisement. Now you can be able to test that, okay, what is the relationship or what is the correlation between advertisement and sales? When you spend more on advertisement, how does it reflect sales and other things? Like you just have to like look for variables that you can test for relationship that you can use the correlation analysis to test for the relationship to see how they influence each other. So that is how relevant it is in our real life. But I think what he just did is just for us to be able to locate where our correlation tool is and how we can use it to analyze a particular data. Thank you.
Okay, so sir, thank you very much, sir. For emphasis, can you repeat what you just said again so that they can hear again? Hello, sir.
I can hear you.
Yeah, go on.
What I say is with respect to his question, like he said, what is the relevance of this correlation in our real life, apart from what we are doing here? And I was like, okay, for the sake of this class, according to my own understanding, the essence of this correlation is for us to be able to, one, know where we can locate our data analysis tool on Excel, right? And for the fact that we use random variables, like you just selected on, or you brought a random variables to use and explain this, is for the sake of this class. But in real life, we're using correlation is to text or to check for relationship that exists between two or more variables. I gave example of maybe you are working in a sales company, right? And maybe your company is, maybe you are trying to advise your company maybe to run ads or to run advertisements so that they can boost sales or something. Now, if they run the advertisement, you are going to maybe be given data to analyze. Then you can now tell from you can use your correlation, whatever, to test for the relationship. What is the relationship between advertisement and sales? When you are not making when you are not investing in advertisement, what is your sales? Now that you have invested in advertisement, has the sales increased or decreased, or does it remain the same? So that is one thing that you can use this correlation analysis ToolPak to test for. You understand? So, but for the sake of this class, it's just for you to understand that, okay, this is how you do it, or this is how you can do it too. But when you are giving real life data, real life what is it called, data to work with, that is when you can be able to understand it very well. All right. But just know that the essence of correlation is to test for relationship, to see how one data affects another.
Thank you, sir. So that was so on point. I just had to like ask you to repeat it again so that for emphasis, so that everybody can hear it. Okay, so that is why I like taking majority of us professionals, because even when the concept looks so big that I might not be able to explain it, I will have somebody on the call that will always be able to step in to help out. Okay, so everybody, we are all teachers on this call. To emphasize what he said, I am just showing you how to maneuver all those things. So you are the one that will now go and look for how it relates to your day-to-day activities. Like most of these things that we are learning, we are just learning them in bits. But I also try as much as possible to relate it to everyday activity that you are going to meet in the office. So, and it's also good that you're also asking questions so that you know how to use it and all that. So now a good example has been given to you. And I believe that that example, when you come to the time of using it, you have reasons to go and look for that tool and the idea and use it well in your analysis. So thank you, sir, and once again, and thank you everybody for joining the call. We have come to the end of tonight's class. We do hope to continue tomorrow. Do have a lovely night rest, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. God bless you, sir.
Welcome.